It's absolutely apptacular. The Subject Cinema Android app. Everything you need to be a rabid Subject Cinema fan. Subject Cinema, 3-Minute Weekend, Tuesday Digidex, and Front Row 5 and 10. All right at your fingertips and available instantly. Plus, email and voicemail links, Facebook and Twitter hookups, Patreon support specials, and more is coming real soon. Don't just listen, app it. The all-in-one Subject Cinema podcast app. Android version available now at Google Play or on PNR Network websites. Amazon and iPhone apps coming soon. Don't delay. Download today.
Blueberry. This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
So last week we were here discussing our rising stars.
True.
Over the Labor Day weekend. But of course Labor Day is something else too.
It is?
Yeah, it is. It's the weekend that Telluride starts, which officially launches the official unofficial Oscar season.
Oh.
And,
you can tell how excited I am by that, can't you?
Did you hear what I said?
Well, yeah. Oh. And that's something else, too.
What's that?
It's our fall movie preview kickoff show! Woohoo!
Yeah, we're going to use different sources this year because Entertainment Weekly decided to stab us in the back and go monthly and aren't producing their usual quarterly show.
Bitter? Who's
magazine.
bitter? Not us.
So, well, it gave us all of them. We're only going to get stuck with like 50 or so instead of the 100. But we'll still cover all that plus the festivals and where they can play into it. All right here, right now. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
Stick around for the fall preview.
Here on Subject Cinema.
On air, online, on now. From the hub of the universe, Boston, Massachusetts, USA, this is Subject Cinema. With your hosts, T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome TC and Kim.
Hey folks, hey everybody out there. We hope you're going to have fun this next hour and a half or so.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Subject Cinema. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
Subject Cinema number 633, September 9th, 2019, and our official, unofficial Oscar season, Oscar bait show.
Yes.
Well, we'll run down most of the big movies coming out in the next few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
The official Oscar season doesn't start until the announcement of the Gotham Awards. That usually comes in early November, or the nominees for those. So we're in the official, unofficial season, which is where all the speculation starts, all the film festivals are happening, and we have all kinds of stuff going on.
All the basic suck-uppery.
Right. As we speak, Telluride was last weekend. Toronto began last Thursday. We have New York, Fantastic Fest, and one or two others coming. Venice was also at the end of last month. And over the next hour or so, or however long it takes us, we'll be discussing some of the bigger titles and some of the hot indie titles coming out each month, month by month. And we may not be able to give you a calendar this year. I don't know the dates we can mention as we go by. We won't be able to do a rundown.
We're going by what we know of as release dates.
Courtesy of the playlist, the site over there that I loathe, but it has a good coverage of the fall season, so we'll use those, and also a few other sites as well. And damn you, Entertainment Weekly, anyway. Anyway.
Well, no, we still love you, Entertainment Weekly, but you did make this a lot easier when you published, weekly.
Your quarterly
Shouldn't
thing.
they be called Entertainment Monthly now?
No, because they're actually kind of published about every 2.5 to 3 weeks. So they're not quite monthly, but they're not quite weekly anymore.
So they should be
Because
Entertainment...
they still have 30 some issues coming out every year. So it's like, okay,
So should they be Entertainment Not Quite Weekly? That's awkward. That's not going to work.
Anyway, over the next 4 months, they're going to be covered with comedies, dramas, tragedies, a ton of music biopics, a whole bunch of other stuff. And let's kick things off with September. Of course, this weekend already started the big box office of the fall with the release of It Chapter 2, which has earned a little bit less than they had hoped for, but it was...
Yeah, but it's still leading the box office.
Yeah, it is.
So.
Of course, this movie is the continuation. They're not calling it a sequel. They're calling it a follow-up to last year's movie that picks up where it left off.
Yeah.
So it's like a Lord of the Rings or
the whole thing of this
Hunger Games, one of those, where they have different parts of it.
The whole thing of the story of it is that it began in the childhood of this group of characters when they first ran into this interdimensional murderous creature, and they defeated it back then, but now they're grown up and apparently it has returned.
Yeah.
Mostly seen in the guise of Pennywise the dancing clown, again spreading calorophobia from sea to shining sea.
I can tell you guys how to stop getting haunted or bothered by supernatural stuff. Stop casting Finn Wolfhard in your movie.
No,
First
don't
Stranger
do that.
Things, and then I know he's our number one right
No,
as far as
don't do
male
that.
is here, but still,
We love Finn.
Now he's in It Chapter 2, and we do love him. I'm just
We
kidding.
love Finn. We just hate clowns.
And
No, we don't.
And there is no. And there is, well, actually, we're neither one, we're really kind of ambivalent about clowns.
I've never had a problem with
No, I
clowns.
haven't either. And next week proves that he's not only in supernatural stuff.
Right.
Next weekend brings The Goldfinch, a movie based on the Donna Tartt novel from 2014, where he is part of the cast of the younger group of characters, which also includes last year's number one rising star, Oakes Fegley, and a number of other people, and then the adult stuff, which includes Ansel Elgort, who plays Oak's character as an adult, plus Nicole Kidman, Sarah Paulson, Luke Wilson, Jeffrey Wright. It's an art forgery mystery thrown into some terrorist drama. And it has I think it premieres tomorrow at Toronto. It premieres in Toronto, and it's this week because it's coming out Friday, and it's like a real close window. So there's no reviews of it yet, but it's expected to be a big hit, and hopefully they won't ruin it because the book won the Pulitzer Prize for fiction in 2014.
Yeah. Hustlers is also going to be coming out, hitting theaters soon. It is looking at...
That's next weekend also.
Yeah. It's looking at what it says it is. A group of women that are out there who are exotic dancers. Because we can't say strippers anymore. Is that's not the term anymore, right? Can't say strippers anymore. Is that the deal? And they wind up getting a hold of some money from some of their clients, and things rapidly take a down to exciting but scary turn from there. The casting,
although it is again a comedy drama.
It's
an action
it's a
comedy.
crime. There's a crime element to it, not I shouldn't say scary like Supernatural or anything like that. The cast includes Jennifer Lopez, Constance Wu, Julia Stiles. That's a name I haven't seen for a long time. And Lizzo, who is a rapper. I guess. I'm sorry, I don't really know
Cardi
who that
B.
is. Yes, Cardi B, who I do know who that is. So, yay for that.
It's got producing credits from Will Ferrell and Adam McKay, which usually means it's the same formula of comedy that they do in everything they do, which is, for my own personal taste,
pass.
Not interested. Yeah. Ad Astra. This movie was bumped at the last minute this summer because they decided they wanted to go for the Oscar season window. This is a long, talky, and supposedly amazingly engaging science fiction drama, which is actually one long movie about daddy issues, from what I've heard, with Brad Pitt, Tommy Lee Jones. I want to see it because the effects look unbelievable, but I'm like, I don't know if I can sit for this movie is almost 3 hours long, and it's not a Lord of the Rings action adventure or one of the Hunger Games movies where you're moving constantly, or even Endgame. It's a talky 2001-ish style modern day science fiction epic. Then they're using that word epic when they release it. It is James Gray who has directed some really critically acclaimed stuff in the past, including The Yards and We Own the Night. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see.
Just my own take on it. This has Interstellar vibes all over it, and that doesn't make me
Interstellar crossed with 2001.
Yeah. For those of you who don't actually know what it means, because I didn't and had to go look it up, Ad Astra is actually Latin. It means to the stars, just in case you wondered what the hell that title was about.
That hits on September 20th. Is that a Wednesday date? September 20th? I believe it is. Let me take a look real quick. No, it's Friday. And then September 27th, the first of several biopics hitting this fall, Renee Zellweger as Judy.
Yep. We know one person who will be
Our
in
friend
line.
Jen will be there with bells on.
Yeah. Judy stars the always engaging Renee Zellweger as Judy Garland. You know, one of the I would say one of the queens of old cinema. I don't think that's being unfair or unkind.
This is mostly focusing on her musical career.
Yeah.
The latter 4 or 5 years of her life.
Yeah. Which means it's probably going to be really sad because, you know, while she was a beautiful singer and a really good actress too, her life off camera wasn't as glitzy and glamorous or happy as her life on camera, unfortunately.
Yep.
And the date for this, as of right now, is September 27th.
We should tell you up front that the movie was previewed in Telluride. It got, a mixed reaction at best, although everyone thinks Renee is a lock for an Oscar nomination. And the movie itself was completely disowned by Liza, Lorna, and the rest of Judy's family. They refused to do anything for this film. So it's definitely an unauthorized biography film.
No.
I still don't know that much about this movie. We keep getting things for screeners for it, and I'm like, what? I know it's... I don't know. It's a movie called The Death of Dick Long, and it's being compared to Swiss Army Man in its tone and verve, but I honestly don't know anything about it. There's a cadaver figuring in the plot, obviously. Dick Long is the story of a pair of hillbilly party animals, played by Michael Abbott Jr. and Andre Hyland, who find themselves in a world of trouble when their buddy Dick ends up dead. I smell Weekend at Bernie's here. A24 is releasing it, so they are known for their oddball strategies and their eclectic taste in releases.
Yeah.
I don't believe it's a wide release. I believe it's a limited wide release. When we say that, and for those of you who listen to 3 Minute Weekend and don't know what I mean, we divide films into wide and limited on that show, and then I specifically bring up other stuff. Wide release to us is what we call the Clotrutus factor. At 1,000 theaters or above, it's a wide release. Anything below that is a limited release, although we can have a limited wide release, which would be anywhere from 500 to 1,000. So...
You get all that?
Yeah. Well,
there'll be a quiz.
You'll hear that a lot over the next few weeks on 3 Minute Weekend.
There'll be a quiz at the end of the show, so have your papers ready.
Did you get that quiz right? You went, brand new car! Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Also coming out in September, some other smaller titles that have gotten some interesting word of mouth here. I'm a bit surprised that there hasn't been more about Rambo Last Blood, which is the final movie in the Rambo series with Sylvester Stallone. He is an old man in this film. Gee, there's a shock. But it has already generated some good word of mouth. Zeroville is out September 6th. That was this past weekend. Freaks is out next weekend. Monos, one of the biggest critical hits at Sundance this year, is out on September 13th. Monos considers an American, I believe she's a doctor, taken hostage by a group of freedom fighters in somewhere in Central America, and the bond she forges with these basically teenage kids. All I know is it's got some good people in the cast, including the young man. His name is slipping me because we don't have a cast list here. Moises Arias, who was in Kings of Summer and a few other things, is in this also. Loro is a 2-part film from overseas, which is a biopic for this gentleman. And it's put them together. It's like 4.5 hours.
Wow!
But it got great reviews. Downton Abbey, oh God, why, is out September 20th.
That's not
I'm not
nice.
a fan of Downton Abbey. I'm sorry.
That's not nice.
Rob Zombie's new film 3 from Hell is out on September 16th. Rambo: Last Blood on September 20th. Where's My Roy Cohen on September 20th. The Day Shall Come with Anna Kendrick on the 27th. And there are probably going to be other films we'll talk about later on when we get to the festival stuff. Because the interesting thing about this fall, the fall list is always least set than the spring and the summer lists, because the fall festivals play a big part. About 30% to 40% of the pickups at Toronto and Telluride will end up on the fall schedule somewhere if they're not already there.
Right.
Goldfinch is already there. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood is already scheduled. A whole bunch of them are making their premieres there, but they're already scheduled. So it'll be interesting to see. We will have October for you
when Subject Cinema returns.
T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown.
Real movies for real people. Subject Cinema.
All right, Kristen, I am so excited that you've decided to do a podcast with me, but what are we going to do a podcast about? There's so many other movie podcasts. We got to do something original.
Well, I'm a big fan of Disney movies. What about something like that?
That's just kid stuff. What do we want to do that for?
Did you know that The Avengers is a Disney movie? Or that Pulp Fiction is a Disney movie?
Pulp Fiction is not a Disney movie.
It's technically owned by Miramax, which is part of Disney.
We are still going to talk about the Disney animated movies, though, right?
I thought you said that was kid stuff.
Well, I've got 2 kids. I got to be a good dad and stuff.
So be sure to subscribe to the Walt Sent Me podcast, where we discuss the various subsidiaries of the Walt Disney Studios, including the animated movies.
It's available on iTunes, Podomatic, and wherever you find great podcasts. And I swear, it's not kid stuff.
What do you guys want? I didn't do anything. I've been here all day.
Just relax, Peter. We're not cops.
Of course you're not cops. If you were cops, you wouldn't be driving a rental car.
How'd you know we're a rental car?
I checked your registration when you were walking to the door. I also had some time to kill, so I went through your rental agreement and saw you from out of town. Are you FBI? No, you're not cops. Hey, what's with this give to youngsters place?
That's an old cart. Well, he's fascinating. He's a pain in the ass. What?
Subject Cinema.
It's our fall preview show, and we're so happy you're joining us here this week on Subject Cinema. I'm Kim Brown.
I'm T.C. Kirkham, and our second segment for this week is on October.
Yep.
That only figures since September was the first segment.
That's usually the way that works, yeah.
This past weekend,
continuity.
A really unexpected turn of events happened in Venice when the film that comes out on October 4th surprised everyone by walking off with the top prize at the Venice Film Festival, the Golden
I gotta admit,
Lion.
I'm floored.
Joker. I can't even imagine this winning a film festival top prize.
No.
Because it's a comic book movie, although it is its own vessel, I guess you would say. It's completely outside of the continuity of the current DC universe.
You can go with however you want to word it. Go your own way, like Fleetwood Mac said. But
I've got to be honest, Joaquin Phoenix is scary, what I've seen of him in this.
Actually, just Joaquin Phoenix is scary, period. End of sentence.
But he is one of the best actors of
No,
our
I'm not
generation,
saying
so.
that. No, I'm not saying he's not brilliant. Hi, Joaquin. I'm not saying he's not brilliant. I'm just saying he's crazier than a sack of ferrets.
Yeah, he is.
And I mean that in the nicest possible way, since I'm probably certifiably insane, too.
I find it interesting that Todd Phillips directed this. Todd is best known for his comedies, Old School and the Hangover trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what? Joaquin Phoenix steps into this role. It's a different style Joker.
It's a different Joker altogether.
He's a failed stand-up comic.
Yeah.
Who goes crazy. It also stars Robert De Niro, Zazie Beetz, Mark Maron, I don't know how you say his name, and one of our favorite character actors, Shea Wiggum, plus Bradley Cooper and Martin Scorsese, who have production credits on this film.
Yeah. I mean, the film is set in Gotham City. It's set in Gotham City in 1981. And Joaquin Phoenix is playing Arthur Fleck. And that's a name I've never heard before.
Nope.
That's a name we've never heard associated with the Joker.
That's not a comic name.
No. And I'm just I have to be completely honest, I'm freaking confused. I am completely, when I heard they were doing this, I was like, all right, this is going to be interesting.
Because it was announced just about a year ago, and the first footage leaked in February, the first teaser of Joaquin in the makeup, and it's like, whoa, okay.
See, my whole thing was, and still is, to an extent, at the risk of sounding like a comic nerd, which I am, how in the blankety blank can you have a Joker movie that doesn't include Batman?
Well, see, to me, Joker had his own comic book for a while with no Batman back in the 70s. So it's highly possible that the character can operate outside the Bat continuity, although in an interview this past week, Robert Pattinson, who is the new Batman, seemed to indicate that they may be connected to the new movie after all.
Yeah, and then he backed up on it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But my whole point, again, being comic nerd, I know, is the reason that the Joker was created was Batman.
Yeah.
Batman was inadvertently responsible
for those of you who
for
don't
the Joker's
know what
creation.
she's talking about, Joker originally was a hood known as the Red Hood.
Yes.
Now that character has been completely retconned 7 times now.
Yep.
But the original comic that came out in the 1940s, Joker had been the man who was in the Red Hood at the time.
Yeah.
So
of course, that's what he tells Batman.
Well, yeah.
And
he could lie through his teeth like the Heath Ledger version.
Considering the fact that one of Joker's lines has been, if I have to have a pass, I'd like to keep it multiple choice. Who's to say? But
I'm looking forward to seeing what they're doing, because I can't figure it out, and I love Joaquin Phoenix anyway.
I do too.
So it's I
mean, when he did Walk the Line, I was like, Joaquin Phoenix as Johnny Cash, are they serious?
Even
and then I saw
yet,
it and I went, okay.
Even better, his performance in Her, which he went completely against his own personal stereotype after that mess with David Letterman earlier in the decade.
Yeah.
And turned in a beautiful performance there. So it'll be interesting. It hits in the first weekend of October.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Lucy in the Sky is... I'm actually wondering if we needed this or not. It is the true, loosely based, the names are different, on the true story of astronaut Lisa Nowick, who was charged with attempted kidnapping and following a romantic affair with the cosmic explorer that was married to the other woman.
Yeah.
You remember reading the story where she had drove across the country in adult diapers so she didn't have to stop, so she could go kidnap this man's wife.
I mean, the names have been changed for the film. Lucy, Lisa is Lucy now and all this stuff like that.
I mean, it's got, again, Natalie Portman, John Hamm, Dan Stevens, Zazie Beetz again. There's a name we're going to hear a lot.
We're going to hear that name a lot.
And if you don't know who Zazie Beetz is, see Deadpool 2.
You should see Deadpool anyway.
Yeah, and Ellen
1
Burstyn.
and 2 because it's awesome.
But, I mean, this is like what? Okay. It will premiere at Toronto.
Well, people are always people. I'll tell you. Do we need a film like this again? Do we need to drag all this up again? I don't really know. But if one person comes away from that film going, man, I really need to stop checking my ex's Facebook or whatever. If it makes one person go, damn, I need some help, and they go to a therapist or something instead of doing something this nuts, then maybe the film served a purpose. That's just my earthy, crunchy granola, hippie Woodstock way of looking at things.
Right.
But,
South Korea's Bong Joon-ho is back in October as well with his new film Parasite, said to be another dark comedy with a hellacious final act. Of course, he's done some crazy stuff over the years.
Mm-hmm. Also in October, Pain and Glory, which is a Spanish film. The Spanish title is Dolor y Gloria. It's a Spanish drama.
Yeah, this is from auteur Pedro Almodovar.
Yep. Starring Antonio Banderas, who is one of my favorite people.
Antonio Banderas.
I love Antonio Banderas. Penelope Cruz, Julieta Serrano, Leonard Sabargalia. I hope I said that close to right. Leonardo. Oh, I messed up your first name and your last name, sir. I'm sorry. It's looking at a director and his like elder years and how he's looking back on his life and regrets and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of reminding me of what was that Italian film? Which was that La Dolce Vita I'm thinking of, or 8.5, or one of those?
I don't know.
It's reminding me of that. That's probably going to have a limited release in America, but we got to be honest. When we've seen the Spanish films over at our local cinema, they pack that in.
Yeah.
When they have a lot.
Of course, that's more the Spanish comedies, though.
Yeah.
Like Todos Cana or whatever that is.
Yeah.
It's out right now. Sorry, I don't mean to mispronounce it.
But we do have a lot of Spanish-speaking people where we live, which is cool. And I think it's awesome that they bring these films so people can see them and they don't have to wait for them to come out on cable, because who knows how long that'll take.
It's going to be out on October 11th in limited release.
Yeah.
Gemini Man, this is one that's been talked about for a while, mostly bad. The buzz is... it plays, people are saying it's too much like Rian Johnson's film Looper.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically the same plot. The difference is, instead of Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, you have
Will Smith and Will Smith
and director Ang Lee, who has produced... Ang Lee's career has been very up and down. He had success with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, had critical success with a few other things. We personally adored Taking Woodstock.
Mm-hmm. Hit a complete brick wall with Hulk.
And with Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk.
Mm-hmm.
But Life of Pi has also been a huge hit, and so was Brokeback Mountain.
Yep.
So it's like he's a very hit and miss guy, although he's a talented director.
There is a big difference with this and Looper. Looper was the whole idea that Bruce Willis's character is being pursued and pursuing his younger self. It's all time travel stuff, and it gives me a frickin' headache.
Yes, and I'm sorry, I don't care how hard you try. That one thing about that movie, which I've never seen all the way through, I've only seen bits and pieces of it, there's no way in hell Joseph Gordon-Levitt is going to grow up to look like Bruce Willis. I'm sorry, no.
The difference with Gemini Man is the fact that Will Smith plays Henry Brogan, who is a government assassin who is being pursued by a clone of himself, who is called Junior, who is also played by Will Smith.
So it's got little bits of the one in there, too.
Yeah. Well, the one was alternate dimensions.
I know, but still the idea.
No, I know, but it's like, so we're dealing with all kinds of unpleasant topics all in one neat little package. I don't know.
It's out on October 11th.
I'm sorry, I hear Gemini Man, I think Riding with Death, and I have a full-on body cringe. Hi to all my Misties out there. What up? I don't know about this.
For those of you who don't know, that was a reference to a short-lived 1976 or 77 series called Gemini Man with Ben Murphy.
Yeah, and all our
Riding
Misties...
with Death was the pilot. It aired on Mystery Science Theater.
But all our Misties know what I meant.
Okay, now we get to the movie in October that's going to be either one of the biggest hits of the year or one of the most colossal bombs of all time. I have to say this because this is one of the films that Disney has inherited from Fox Searchlight in their pickup of the Fox studio. Mm-hmm. And when it screened for Disney executives a few weeks ago, they didn't run screaming from the theater, but they certainly oh God, this is so not Disney. The movie is the new satire, it's what they're calling it, from Taika Waititi. It's called Jojo Rabbit.
Can I read the thing? Can I read the thing, please?
Sure.
Going off of the synopsis from Wikipedia.
Oh, that's where you are. Okay.
Yeah. Quote. During the Second World War, a lonely German boy, Jojo Rabbit Belzer, has his worldview turned upside down when he discovers his single mother, Rosie, is hiding a young Jewish girl in their attic. Aided only by his imaginary friend in the form of an idiotic version of Adolf Hitler, Jojo must confront his blind ethnic nationalism. End quote.
Yeah. Taika Waititi is playing Hitler.
Sweet baby seals. Oh my
there's
gosh.
Also who's the newcomer? Roman Griffin Davis.
Roman Griffin Davis is
Jojo.
Scarlett Johansson is his mother Rosie. Thomasin McKenzie is playing Elsa Core. Sam Rockwell is also in this, along with Rebel Wilson, Stephen Merchant, and Alfie Allen.
I can't wait to see it, which is weird because up to this point, I have been disappointed with Taika Waititi stuff. I know he's a critical darling, but I'm sorry. I never saw What We Do in the Shadows. What I've seen of it, I thought was funny. But Thor Ragnarok sucked from beginning to end. I don't care what the critics said. It was terrible. And I'm really worried about this one. So we'll see.
Okie dokie. Just to add in my own little thing, I liked Thor Ragnarok. Did not like.
I can't help that you're not wrong. That you're not right about that.
Did not like the haircutting scene. That was traumatizing.
Oh, would have been if Stan Lee wasn't the barber.
Still traumatizing.
Hi,
Chris. Call me. This movie. Oh my gosh. But you know what? I know that you and I are both like, oh my gosh, about this film. But can I go back to let's cast our minds back for a moment. Thank you.
I gotta get our soundboard working.
Cast your mind back to the 1960s. I know some of you are going to say, if you remember the 60s, you weren't there. But think back.
They have a point.
Think back to a little movie that the big climactic thing of said was a musical number called Springtime for Hitler.
Mm.
When people heard about what that movie was about, they lost their freaking minds. And we both think The Producers is one of Mel Brooks' funniest films.
And the musical remake is also awesome.
Yeah, because it takes all of that, that pomposity and all of that of those people that strutted around and goose-stepped and thought they were all that in a bag of sauerkraut. Right. And they give it the middle finger and spit right in its eye.
I have to say, if you haven't seen it yet, there is a meme floating
no, it's not.
out there.
It's not a meme. It's a YouTube.
It's a YouTube. Well, they call it a meme.
Okay, then it's a YouTube meme.
A YouTube meme with from that one movie
from the Downfall.
Downfall with the gentleman who played Hitler in that ranting and raving about this movie. It is a scream. He passed away a couple months ago.
Yes, he did. The thing that cracks me up is the whole idiotic version of Adolf Hitler. Like, there's another kind?
Yeah. Plus, I have a feeling if you're a fan of Hogan's Heroes or anything goofy like that, this
or
is probably
Yeah.
Next up, completely opposite end, another film that is being touted by A24, and this thing went nuts at the Cannes Film Festival in June. Mm-hmm. It is basically a 3-person or 4-person.
I want to see this.
I do too.
So
I can't
much.
wait to see it. It's called The Lighthouse. It is shot in black and white by director Robert Eggers, who also made The Witch, which was a critically acclaimed film that the public hated. I should point out. Stars Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe as a pair of briny old sea dogs that are drawn into this web of intrigue and weirdness when they visit this lighthouse. It's been compared to two of the greatest directors from Europe of all time, Andrei Tarkovsky and Bela Tarr.
Yeah.
And
it won an award at Cannes.
It is likely to end up, if it comes to a major theater, it will probably be AMC, which has their AMC Select series. Otherwise, you're probably going to be relegated to Landmark or one of the smaller local rep theaters. But it is said to be just amazing.
Yeah.
So we can't wait to see it.
Since October is my favorite month out of the year because it's Halloween, a.k.a. the most wonderful time of the year.
There are two huge sequels coming out in October, and this is one of them.
Yep. Zombieland Double Tap is coming out in October, bringing back...
Can I ask a question?
What?
Why did it take 10 years to do a sequel to Zombieland?
I don't know. To be perfectly honest with you, I'd like to think it's because they wanted to get everything exactly right.
Better than they did on the TV pilot for Amazon, which just sucked, by the way.
I don't know. And it brings back pretty much everybody from the original film. Yep. Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, Emma Stone, Abigail Breslin. But
Bill Murray.
And Bill Murray.
Which seems interesting since they killed him in the first film.
Yes.
So he must be back as a zombie this time.
Yeah,
I don't know.
For reals. But we've also got other people joining our happy bunch, including Rosario Dawson, Zoe Deutsch, Luke Wilson, and one of TC's favorite actors in the whole wide world, Thomas Middleditch. Well, he is.
He is. Although I've never watched Silicon Valley. I like him in everything else.
See, I'm surprised you haven't seen that, because that like
T.J.
computer...
Miller's in that movie. T.J. Miller drives me up the wall.
I know
Except
that,
in Cloverfield. He drives me up the wall.
Yeah, but that techie stuff is like your thing.
I never watched. I hate Big Bang Theory too. What's your point?
Yeah, but you still think that that's making fun of.
But it's still techie stuff anyway.
Also in October, I know some people are concerned about this, but I'm sorry, I think it looks great. The Addams Family, which is an animated version of the comics that were wonderfully, wickedly, weirdly done by the wonderfully, wickedly weird Charles Addams back in the day.
Go ahead.
It was a television series. It was a series of films and a Broadway play for a while.
Yeah, this is an animated version. Yes. Again with Finn Wolfhard and doing the voice of Pugsley plus
Oscar Isaac. Oscar Isaac is Gomez. Charlize Theron as Morticia. Chloe Grace Moritz as Wednesday.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
As you mentioned, Finn Wolfhard as Pugsley. Nick Kroll as Uncle Fester. What?
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, some of these I'm reading for the first time. Snoop Dogg is voicing Cousin It. Okay. Not knocking Snoop. Love Snoop. He's amazing. But considering the fact that...
Yeah, don't knock Snoop. You'll have Martha Stewart knocking at our door telling us how terrible people we are.
Considering the fact that usually Cousin It sounds like a tape running backwards, I don't really... okay. And Bette Midler voicing Grandmama. Oh, that should be fun.
There's the current war with Benedict Cumberbatch as Thomas Edison or Nikolai Tesla.
I think he's playing...
he's playing one of them.
Give me a minute.
Yep.
You jumped ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm not looking at the Wikipedia page, so I don't know what you're doing.
Well, no, I know you're not. So I am. So that one's got an amazing cast.
It's interesting that this thing's been sitting on the shelf for 2 years because of legal issues.
Well,
one of the estates wasn't happy or something.
Yeah, nobody's usually happy when people start talking. Yes, Benedict Cumberbatch plays Thomas Edison. Michael Shannon plays George Westinghouse.
Oh, that's right. It's Westinghouse, not Tesla. Sorry.
Nicholas Hoult is playing Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, but it's a smaller part.
And
Nicholas Hoult? After David Bowie portrayed him in The Prestige? Oh, my God.
Well, unless you have a Ouija board, you're not going to be able to get Bowie
Well, I know,
back.
but I'm saying... Oh, well, anyway.
And Tom Holland as Samuel Insull. I have no idea who that is. I know Tom Holland is, but I know who Samuel Insull is. This was nasty.
It was.
I mean, some people have said it was more a one-sided art war than actual dislike between the two people.
Everybody said that Edison was a D word, so I'm not going to say much more.
Yeah, and a lot of people said
what
that
a perfect person to play him. Benedict has a real knack for playing characters like that.
And a lot of people said Nikola Tesla was
a little bit insane.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Was.
But, but genius and madness do walk hand in hand.
Also out, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, the sequel to the Disney reboot, on October 18th.
Which I don't know why we need, but whatever.
Black and Blue on October 25th. The Kill Team also on October 25th. Frankie, October 25th. Greener Grass on October 18th. And the biggest, most expected sequel of the fall, Jay and Silent Bob reboot on October 15th, where we are going to see what? Don't look at me. You should see the online stuff about this.
No.
Jay and Silent Bob reboot is about Jay and Silent Bob going back to Hollywood to try and stop a reboot of the movie they stopped in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back 16 years ago. Most of the cast is returning. We will get to see only of all of the core Askewniverse people, only Jeff Anderson, who plays Randall, declined to appear. We will see Dante. We will see Dante's wife. I've forgotten her name, played by Rosario Dawson. Plus
Becky.
Becky, right? Thank you. Plus,
pretty sad when I could remember that.
And Elias isn't in it, but he wasn't. He was brand new to the Askewniverse and Clerks too. But Kevin and Jay are back, and it's going to be freaking hilarious.
Yeah, the thing is. Yeah, and we are going to this, and I have to go now because
David Dastmalchian's in it.
Yes, he showed me the trailer for it, and he's like, "See, now you have to go."
I don't remember the trailer, but I'll have to. I probably did show it to you.
Because David Dastmalchian is in it, and he's one of my favorite actors in the whole wide world, and it's got a bunch of other people in it as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of cameos.
Yeah, a lot of cameos, including Chris Hemsworth, so I have to go for that as well. And Chris Jericho, newly crowned AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
It'll be great. Jay and Silent Bob hits on October 15th. Jay and Silent reboot on October 15th. And it will actually, I believe it launches the week before or the same week, or maybe the night before. You can see both films back to back at a special Fathom event premiere. With Jay and Bob hosting and Jay and Kevin hosting.
Yeah, check with Fathom to that.
Yeah, you can check your local Fathom events and see if they're hosting that. So, 2 months are out of the way. We got 2 more to go.
Yeah.
November is next.
When Subject Cinema returns.
Good times and great movies. Subject Cinema.
Want to listen to Subject Cinema on the go? Check out Stitcher. You can access all the latest episodes right from iPhone or Android. Check it out. Click on the Stitcher logo on our sidebar or go to Stitcher.com and search for your favorite PNR Network show. Get started today.
Want to be a part of Subject Cinema? Then email us. Your ideas, suggestions, and comments keep us going. SubjectCinema@PNRNetworks.com.
Just when you think you've heard it all, we make sure there's more to hear. This is Subject Cinema.
We are continuing the 2019 Fall Preview Edition for films on Subject Cinema. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
Kim admonished me during the break because...
Admonish.
Because I left one of the films off because I know it's coming out limited theatrically, and I'm like... That Netflix thing went off in my head. Netflix. But it is coming out theatrically. The King. At the end of October.
The King approacheth.
Dun, 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 dun.
In October.
And it's got a great cast.
Yes. The story of King Henry V and how he becomes said, starring Timothy Chalamet as King Henry V. Joel Edgerton, as Falstaff. Robert Pattinson as the Dauphin. Ben Mendelsohn as King Henry IV, which means we're definitely going to watch this movie because it's Ben Mendelsohn and he's awesome.
He'll be dead before the king takes over.
Well, yeah, but he dies so well, though. He dies so well in movies. Not as well as Sean Bean and not as often as Sean Bean, but who does?
You'd be surprised.
Hi, Sean! So anyway, we're at November. Also an incredibly awesome month because it is Thanksgiving month when we should be thankful for all the good things in our lives. It is also the month of Veterans Day when we pay homage to all of the great veterans that we know. And it's my birthday!
You're still celebrating that. Okay.
You're only as old as you feel.
Okay, fine.
In which case, I've been dead for 10 years.
Oh, thank you. That was happened. Oh, I'm hurt.
What? No. Why?
My gosh.
What?
That means I drove you to your grave.
No. Calm down. No. I have the heart of a 20-year-old girl. I keep it in a drawer on my desk.
But I'm Chang.
Kidding.
On November 1st, Motherless Brooklyn hits. This is opening in Toronto. It is a one-man tour de force with Edward Norton writing, producing, directing, and starring. Edward has been trying to get this to the screen for almost 20 years. He bought the rights to the movie years ago.
Yes.
It has an incredible cast.
Oh yeah, it's a one man. Edward did everything. He's king of the world. You win, but he's definitely not a one man show.
No,
he's got an amazing cast.
Camera.
Yeah. You've got Edward Norton, Bruce Willis, Gugu Mbatha-Raw, Bobby Cannavale, who I just adore in everything.
Mm-hmm.
Cherry Jones, Alec Baldwin, Willem Dafoe, Michael K. Williams, Leslie Mann, Ethan Sulpe, Dallas Roberts. This is going to be awesome.
It has gotten mixed reviews in Telluride, and although they do appreciate good films there, obviously, because that's all the hoity-toities from Hollywood coming out to celebrate themselves in Telluride every year.
Yeah.
Because it's not that far away. It's the only film festival that happens in a place where you literally can't get there unless you fly. But it has gotten some good word of mouth as well.
November 1st also brings Terminator Dark Fate.
I'll be back.
Because we needed another one.
Now, no. Now stop.
What?
This movie disowns everything after Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
I know.
So we're going to Halloween territory here. You're disowning the sequels, Rise of the Machine, Salvation, and thank God, Genesis, which was terrible. Here, Linda Hamilton is back. Arnold Schwarzenegger is back. Eddie Furlong is back.
Yep.
And there's going to be some interesting stuff for sure.
Yes. This is off of the...
Although, I just want to warn people, as a spoiler alert, I have heard Furlong's character is on screen for 5 or 6 seconds before he gets killed off. I don't know if it's true. It's just a rumor floating around. And if you're going to go see him, I definitely would check it first. Well, anyway, go ahead.
According to Paramount Pictures and 20th Century Fox, this is the synopsis they sent out. Quote, 27 years after the events of Terminator 2 Judgment Day, a new modified liquid metal Terminator is sent from the future by Skynet in order to terminate Dani Ramos, a hybrid cyborg human, and her friends. Sarah Connor comes to their aid, as well as the original Terminator, for a fight for the future, end quote.
Wouldn't it be the second Terminator? The original one would be dead.
Okay, this is why we're going to crank up that... we're going to crank up the gramophone, kids, so Kim can put on that well-worn record, I hate time travel!
Executive produced and co-authored, I think, by James Cameron, with Tim Miller, who directed Deadpool, in the director's seat.
Yeah. It's chicken on a biscuit. I hate time travel movies.
It could be very interesting to see if it takes off, because I'm sorry, I liked Terminator Salvation strictly because of Anton Yelchin's presence. I went to see him. I didn't go to see the film because I'd never been to the Terminator movies before that. And Genesis was terrible. I mean, just terrible.
Yeah, it hurt.
So I'm like, oh, man.
There's a lot of things coming out on the 1st of November.
The first, what else is coming out on the 1st?
The Irishman, as of right now, anyway.
The Irishman has not yet been given an official date. What you're looking at is an unofficial date.
Well, we said cards subject to change, you know.
Right.
The Irishman tells the story of Frank Sheeran, who is a hitman for the mob and a veteran of World War II, who honed his craft for killing people while he was in the service fighting overseas. The film's looking at his reflections when he's an older person, remembering the things that defined him throughout his career, and specifically his role in the disappearance of a certain infamous union leader.
That date you have, I think, corresponds with its premiere at the New York Film Festival. So that might be why it's listed there, because it is opening the New York Film Festival. It is the new film
Actually, according to the New York Film Festival, it's going to be debuting on September 27th.
Oh, that's that early. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, Irishman is the new film from Martin Scorsese. Mm-hmm. It's de-aged Robert De Niro and de-aged, who else?
Al Pacino.
And
we've seen clips of that, and it's spooky.
It is a Netflix film with limited commercial release, but it will be out in theaters.
Yep. The usual gang's all here for a Scorsese film with De Niro, Pacino, Joe Pesci, Harvey Keitel, Bobby Cannavale again, whom, as I've mentioned before, I think is awesome. Also on the first, Harriet, which is the story of Harriet Tubman, who was one of the bravest women that ever lived in America, and I will fight you on that. Mm-hmm. She was an abolitionist and was part of the Underground Railroad, which was one of the people involved in getting people out of the South, black slaves out of the South and to freedom. So she was obviously a very, very important person. She is played in this movie by Cynthia Erivo. I hope I said that right. And the cast also includes Leslie Odom Jr., Joe Alwyn, and Janelle Monáe. I don't know how you say Monáe. Sorry. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a really good movie.
Okay, are you done with that? Because I don't have those on my list.
Okay, sorry.
Dr. Sleep, which is the long-awaited, is it really? Long-awaited sequel to The Shining. Apparently it's been long-awaited since it came out in 2013. The Shining came out in 1970-something, and the movie came out in 1980. Huh. So it's like, okay. Ewan McGregor playing a grown-up Danny Torrance. I wonder why they're not petitioning to have the original Danny Lloyd play this character in this. Like they're doing with the guy from Halloween.
I don't know.
Anyway, sorry. It is...
I think that he got out of acting after
Well,
The
so
Shining.
did the kid from the Halloween, but they're still petitioning to have him back because they're upset that Anthony Michael Hall's playing him in the new movie. This is kind of a hybrid follow-up to both the book and the movie. And Rebecca Hall is here also. I don't know. It'll depend on whether people really need to see Stephen King.
Well, I think a lot of people who saw The Shining or read the book would want to know what happened to Danny after going through what he went through as a child, and
I've never read the book or seen the movie, so I don't
think
know.
It'll be interesting.
Also on the 8th, one of the most critically acclaimed films at Sundance again this year, and in fact it has a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics, Honey Boy, the names have been changed life story of Shia LaBeouf, which stars Noah Jupe as the younger version of the character, Lucas Hedges as the older version of the character, and it basically is looking at his childhood and the kind of crazy childhood he went with the kind of mixed up stage father that he had, which LaBeouf himself is playing in this film. Mm-hmm. He co-wrote it. The critics just went nuts at Sundance, and it is said to be incredibly interesting and incredibly hard to take. So it should be interesting.
I don't know what that means.
I'm not sure what that means either, but I've been looking forward to it since then. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. On November 15th, Ford versus Ferrari. Mm-hmm. This movie has been eating up plenty of journalism space since it premiered at Telluride last weekend. With Matt Damon and Christian Bale in the lead roles, it is the story of their rivalry that built the team, that built the GT40 in the 1960s and 70s in the, I guess that was a stock car racing circuit.
Yeah.
Which culminated in one of the races at Le Mans, which is Le Mans, France. Mm-hmm. I don't know. There was one critic that thinks it's well overrated. Everybody else thinks it's going to be a major Oscar contender. We'll see.
Yep.
The Report is due out on November 15th. This is an Amazon Prime film that will get its airing in the theaters also. It is the supposedly true story of the papers that came out into the Senate Intelligence Committee that talks about, it's the story of a staffer who tries to excavate long-buried accusations of torture in the aftermath of 9/11. In other words, it's a political hit piece, and of course, all the political people will get a kick out of it. Inevitably, these movies do well at the Oscars and do well at the movie awards, but do virtually nothing in the box office over the last several years. Despite Adam Driver leading the cast, I really doubt it's going to do anything, although the fact that it's on Amazon Prime, I think they said just 2 weeks after its original release, will probably help it.
Yeah. November 22nd, we are taking a return back to Arendelle as Disney's Frozen 2 hits theaters. It is set 3 years after what happened in the first film, and Elsa starts to hear a song from the north calling to her. She teams up with her sister Anna and also her love Kristoff. They're talking snowman
Anna's
buddy.
love Kristoff.
Yeah. They're talking snowman buddy Olaf, who's one of my favorite characters in the whole movie, and I will fight you on that. And Sven.
Yes, we will. Plenty.
Yeah, and Sven the reindeer. And they leave Arendelle to find out what this music, this sound is, and also maybe find out the origin of Anna's cryokinetic powers. We have everybody back from the original film, including a character that we haven't seen, we've seen in shorts since the original film. I won't say who that is. And a few other new characters as well. I'm super duper excited. I loved Frozen. I thought it was an amazing movie.
So they really are letting it go in this one and heading off somewhere else.
Yeah, I guess so. My big hope is I hope Marshmallow comes back. I liked Marshmallow.
November 15th brings us The Lodge. This is one of these ultra...
claustrophobic.
It's one of those new... I don't even know how to term them. Pseudo-horror films that everyone thinks are horror films, or they like to pretend are horror films, but they're actually just psychological dramas with thriller elements. I can't say that about this, but they're comparing it already to Us, Midsommar, and The Lighthouse. It is from Veronica France and Severin Fiala, who made Goodnight Mommy a couple years ago with rave reviews. I don't know where it'll go, but we'll see. And, excuse me, as if everybody was asking for it, the reboot of Charlie's Angels is out on November 15th. This one includes Elizabeth Banks as one of several versions of Bosley, the others played by Digimon Hansu and Patrick Stewart, and also is more along the lines of a more woke version of the movies that came from the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Rather than the TV series itself.
Right.
Kristen Stewart, that's the original cast. Kristen Stewart, Naomi Scott, and Ella Balinska are the new Angels, and also starring Noah Centineo and Sam Claflin. The trailer looks kick-ass. I'm sorry, and Banks also directed it, co-wrote it. I'm sorry. I think it looks like hella fun, but that's me.
November late November brings us a film that you and I are both looking forward to so much.
Yes, and it's going to have a problem because it's opening opposite Frozen 2, which is interesting.
Even though it's going to completely and utterly wreck the both of us, and we know it. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood is a biographical film about a reporter who is sent to he accepts an assignment from Esquire to do a profile on Fred Rogers, also known as Mr. Rogers, and how being around this man changes him when he sees that the Mr. Rogers that you see on TV was Mr. Rogers 24/7. And I saw the trailer for this.
And was bawling.
And sat there and cried. 3-minute trailer had me sobbing my eyes out with this enormous smile on my face. And if Tom Hanks does not win an Oscar for this movie...
You can't say that right up front. Don't jinx the man.
I'm sorry. It is... We saw Won't You Be My Neighbor
last year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me realize, when I was much younger, I told myself, Mr. Rogers, that stuff's for babies. I'm too grown for that kind of stuff.
Mm.
Man, I was an idiot back then.
The movie
we can always use Mr. Rogers.
Directed by Marielle Heller, who did last year's Oscar-nominated film Can You Ever Forgive Me? Tom Hanks channels Fred Rogers in this film, and it also stars Matthew Rice playing Esquire journalist Lloyd Vogel, along with Tammy Blanchard, Susan Kelechi Watson, Chris Cooper, and a cameo from Betty Aberlin.
Mm-hmm.
We are. It opened at Toronto last night as we're recording this. The reviews have been off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has said, oh, well, I don't know if this is actually going to do well, and it may not work, and Hanks isn't part of it enough to get an Oscar nomination, maybe supporting. After the film's premiere, everybody's tune has changed.
Mm-hmm.
And now he is up there with Joaquin Phoenix as a real contender for Best Actor.
Yep.
Which Tom hasn't won since Forrest Gump. It's been ages, so...
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Is that right, or was Philadelphia after Forrest Gump? I forget.
No, yeah,
one of
that
those
was
two
after,
films.
yeah.
One of those two films.
Forrest Gump was after that.
So,
sure. Yeah.
It's mister
Mm-hmm.
Rogers. I can't wait to see it. Also at the end of the month, November 27th, Rian Johnson's pseudo-comedy mystery, Knives Out, with a cast to die for.
Yes.
Daniel Craig, Chris Evans, Ana de Armas, Jamie Lee Curtis, Toni Collette, Don Johnson, Michael Shannon, Lakeith Stanfield, Catherine Langfield, Jaden Martell, Christopher Plummer. Plus, they don't have Noah Segan here, but he's in it. It's a murder mystery a la Agatha Christie, but it's set in the U.S., even though it feels like a British movie, and it is played largely for laughs with Daniel Craig as the investigator.
It's your old country house story where a murder occurs, and it's one of those...
Transported to America.
Yeah.
It's usually a British thing.
Yeah, those are my favoriteest kind of books. I love those kind of books, so I cannot wait to see this movie.
Queen and Slim has also been getting a lot of word of mouth since premiering at Telluride last week. This is... I'm reluctant to describe this because it's being played off as a romantic thriller.
Mm-hmm.
And what it actually is a movie about a couple of cop murdering people. And it's like, okay.
But it doesn't start off that way.
It happens less than 20 minutes into the film.
But my point is, it's two young people that are out on a date. They get pulled
over by
a police officer, and stuff goes rapidly wrong. They're not walking out of their house.
They make things continually worse throughout the film. It's Bonnie and Clyde for the modern day.
Okay, fine. But I'm just saying, they're not walking out of the house going, well, going to kill some cops today. It's not that kind of a film.
No. Daniel Kaluuya and Jodie Turner-Smith star in this, along with Flea, Chloe Sevigny, and Bokeem Woodbine. I have to wait and see it. The trailer is very misleading from what I've been told, and, trailers always lie, so...
One of my rules.
Yeah, we'll see. Anything else on your November list?
Nope.
There's only a couple over here. Last Christmas, due November 8th. Paradise Hills, due November 1st. And 21 Bridges, November 22nd, and The Rhythm Section, November 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we got all the big ones.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did.
Next up, we'll head into real Oscar territory as all of the big Oscar stuff starts flooding out in December, and that's coming up
when Subject Cinema returns.
Real movies for real people. Subject Cinema.
eCinemaOne is your choice for great info and commentary about the world of film and entertainment. Daily trailer postings, the latest news and film reviews, commentary about the state of the industry, the weekly Subject Cinema and 3-Minute Weekend podcast, and so much more you won't believe it. New material is being posted daily. So join us each day and see what you're missing out on. Once you visit, you will always be back for more. eCinemaOne from PNRNetworks. eCinemaOne.com.
Blockbuster or bomb, it's all good for us. This is Subject Cinema.
We're here looking at the rest of the films for 2019, and we hope you're having just as good a time as we are. I'm Kim Brown.
I'm TC Kirkham. It's Subject Cinema number 633, our fall preview edition. December is traditionally the month where a lot of Oscar bait hits theaters, and a lot of it is only hitting theaters in New York, Los Angeles, and maybe 5 or 6 other cities, and don't go wide until January. This infuriates me.
It's called the For Your Consideration time of year.
Exactly. We're not going to talk about that so much as we are the titles. There's some interesting stuff coming out in December, and some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are scoffed at by audiences already in Toronto, and that last category seems to be where The Aeronauts is fitting. This is a big budget, huge film from Amazon Studios for Amazon Prime again, with Eddie Redmayne and Felicity Jones teaming up again in a biographical adventure film rooted in the truth about pilot Amelia Wren, who is a fictional character, and scientist James Glacier as they take a balloon trip.
Yep.
Around hot air balloon trip.
Mm-hmm.
It did not get best word of mouth in Toronto and Telluride, and it did not get the best word of mouth in Toronto. So it's. I mean, I love Eddie Redmayne and Felicity Jones. I adore both of them, but this movie does not seem to be in the running anymore.
I don't know. Also coming out in December, did we really need this? Following on the heels of the Lego movie and the next Lego movie, we have the Playmobil movie. Yay. It
actually was due out in May, but they pushed it back to December. So.
The cast includes Anna Taylor-Joy, Gabriel Bateman, and the voice cast includes Jim Gaffigan, Daniel Radcliffe, Meghan Trainor, Adam Lambert, Kenan Thompson, Wendy McLennan-Covey, Lino DeSalvo, Kirk Thornton, Paloma Mitchell, and Spike Spencer. Okay. Silly Putty, the movie coming out in 2020. And if that actually happens, I want a cut.
Wait, is Silly Putty owned by Hasbro?
I don't know.
Because I think that Playmobil is, so I'm not sure. And Hasbro's doing movies of a lot of their stuff. Portrait of a Lady on Fire is one of the biggest titles out of Cannes this year, and it will be hitting in limited release on December 6th. It is written and directed by Celine Sciamma, an 18th century romance following a young artist named Marianne, hired to paint the portrait of a woman named Heloise, and it's a portrait that has been commissioned to potentially elicit marriage proposals. Mm-hmm. It's French, obviously, and it's probably one of those that you would probably like to see if we get a chance to.
Also in December, another film that we're like, did we ask for this? I'm sorry. Brahms The Boy 2, which is a sequel to the 2016 film The Boy.
Okay.
I don't know why we need this. No. It stars.
Well, December is also a dumping ground for other stuff. So.
Sometimes, not always. This film stars Katie Holmes, and I don't really know what else to say about it other than apparently somebody felt like we needed it. Another horror.
And don't forget about Black Christmas.
Yes,
another remake of Black Christmas.
Again, oh my gosh, why? I'm seriously, why? Again,
why? Okay.
This is the third time this film has been remade. It was first made in 1974. There was a remake in 2006, and now we're getting it again. Crying out loud. Really?
In Fabric hits December 6th, A24 releasing it. It is the latest from director Peter Strickland, who did the critically acclaimed Giallo tribute Berberbian Sound Studio, and its follow-up, the erotic reverie called The Duke of Burgundy, which if you look at the Duke of Burgundy's trailer, it doesn't show any of that stuff. It's more like a medieval thing. In Fabric follows about a coveted red dress that harms anyone who comes into contact with it. And it is probably going to do well with the horror genre that likes, because it's a horror comedy. And they seem to be in right now. A Hidden Life is the new movie from auteur Terrence Malick. It has been talked about for a while. It has been shown here and there. It is not getting the greatest word of mouth on the planet. With Bruno Ganz, Matthias Schoenaerts, and Franz Rogowski starring in this.
Jumanji is back in December again. Jumanji: The Next Level, sequel to Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. We got some people back from the original film, including Dwayne Johnson, Jack Black, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, Nick Jonas, because we could always use a Jonas brother in a movie. Hashtag sarcasm.
Nick was in it last year too.
I know. And I know all the teenage girls were just all squeeing all over the place. Also in the film are Danny DeVito, Danny Glover, Morgan Turner, Alex Wolff, who we love, and Colin Hanks.
Yep. Uncut Gems is the latest from Josh and Benny Safdie. These two are a critical darling at the moment. They've written some really hard-hitting dramas that have really changed the course of careers for people, most notably Robert Pattinson in last year's Good Time. Now they have teamed up for a crime drama set in the world of the New York gem world, with Adam Sandler, of all people, as a jeweler who's also indebted up to his eyeballs in gambling debts. The movie itself is not getting the best word of mouth for a Safdie film, but Sandler's performance is getting raves from Telluride in Toronto. Also starring Eric Bogosian, who I thought passed away a few years ago, Judd Hirsch, Idina Menzel, Lakeith Stanfield, and Kevin Garnett, along with singer The Weeknd. The Safdie movies, they really usually have a solid following, so it should do something else.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and then there's this little space movie coming out. Something about Skywalker. What is this thing?
Before I get up and hit TC with the laptop, what he's trying to say in his oh-so-subtle way is that December brings us Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Okay.
All the usual cast of characters are here from the new
back.
movies. Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Adam Driver. Billy D. Williams is back in this one as Lando Calrissian, and possibly Emperor Palpatine.
Possibly.
From the sound of the trailer.
We also, I'd like just to bring up that when Star Wars: The Last Jedi came out, I came home, locked myself in the bathroom,
and bawled for an hour.
Yep. That is not an exaggeration.
Yeah, it is actually. It only lasted about 20 minutes. But
it was about an hour.
No, because I wouldn't let it.
Because all I could hear was.
No, I didn't bother you. I didn't touch you for the first however long you were in there, because I knew you needed to get it out of your system.
Yeah. I was.
Because spoiler alert, Luke dies at the end of that movie.
Yeah.
And
I was an incoherent. I made it till we got home.
You did.
I made it till we got home. I didn't say. I think I said maybe 2 words.
Right.
The entire car trip home.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was
holding her hand all the way. I knew she was going to have trouble when we got in the house. So.
Yeah, and then I went and collapsed. Not exactly the best picture of mental health.
Next up is, that was out December 20th, and also out on December 20th. Oh boy. This movie is dividing people so bad. Nobody's seen it. No critics have seen it yet. But the trailer was freaking people out online.
Mm-hmm.
Cats, the feature film based on the Broadway musical from Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yes, based on the book.
Directed by Tom Hooper.
Mm-hmm.
And starring
based on the book, just real quick, Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats by T.S. Eliot. We just need to throw that in there.
Huge list of people, including Judi Dench, Jennifer Hudson, Rebel Wilson, Taylor Swift,
Jason Derulo.
Nicely Derulo'd. and a number of other people. And the thing is, people have been comparing. They've been calling this trailer a nightmare of Lovecraftian proportions.
Oh, come on!
That's a quote from somebody.
No, I realize that, but good grief, people.
I saw
people
the trailer.
I
thought it was rather enjoyable. I'm looking forward to it. I've never seen the play, and I'm looking forward to the movies. Although I still, to this day, I do think Jennifer Hudson is too young to be playing Grisabella.
Yeah,
but that's me.
No, you're right. Grisabella is...
But of course, she's the premier singer.
Yeah.
And thank God they didn't give it to Taylor Swift, or I would have had to do something.
Yeah, pout.
Oh, you think so, huh? They give a song like that, like Memory to Taylor Swift. Oh, the humanity would have been up there.
All right.
You would have been calling the Hindenburg again.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, the thing is, I love Jennifer Hudson. I do. She's an amazing singer. It's just that the character of Grisabella, the whole point of the character is that this is a character who's been through a lot, and you do get the impression that she is, she's not elderly, but she's definitely older.
Right. Not as old as...
Not as old as old Deuteronomy, who has a gender flip in this.
Yeah, she's Judi Dench is playing old Deuteronomy, and
yes.
Ian McKellen is also in it. A lot of great people.
Yes, Ian McKellen. Ian McKellen is Gus the Theater Cat. That's insane casting. I love it. And James Corden as Buster Jones is just beyond awesome. That is perfect casting.
Derulo's playing Rum Tum Tugger.
Yes, which
that's
to be honest,
a scary.
To be honest, that works.
Yeah, it does.
That really works.
He's never acted before. This is something new for him, so it'll be interesting.
Well, considering that most of Cats is singing.
Yeah, it is.
So,
next up is a film that I'm looking forward to simply because I saw the trailer and it knocked my socks off. If you haven't seen it, there's already been a TV version of basically the same story running on FX the last few weeks, I think. No, Showtime. Or Stars, one of those. The feature film version is called Bombshell. It is the true story of what happened when Megyn Kelly, Gretchen Carlson, and a producer named Kayla Pospisil took on and defeated and dethroned the head of Fox News, Roger Ailes, in a sexual harassment suit.
Yep.
If you have not seen Charlize Theron as Megyn Kelly, it is frightening. Charlize is a beautiful woman anyway, but she is... I don't know what they did with the makeup. You could not tell them apart in this film. I gotta say that
John Lithgow as Roger Ailes. I'm a little
that's
bit...
That's better casting than Russell Crowe from the TV series. Nicole Kidman as Gretchen Carlson is a bit odd casting.
Talk about an upgrade.
That was mean.
That was that bad Kim.
Also, I gotta say, I don't know his name, but the dude they cast as Sean Hannity is a dead ringer for him.
Spencer Garrett.
Also, Allison Janney, Kate McKinnon, Malcolm McDowell, Alice Eve, and many more people playing their counterparts at Fox News in this true story that broke a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Margot Robbie as Kayla Pospisil.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting. But I can't wait to see it. I'm just really curious to see what they'll do.
Tom Holland is back behind a mic for the animated film Spies in Disguise. It's the story of a super spy who is not voiced by Tom Holland. That's actually Will Smith, who is a super spy named Lance Sterling. Tom plays Walter Beckett, who is a socially awkward genius who designs all the spy gadgets and stuff like that. And things go sideways when Lance Sterling, who is the most awesome spy in the world, is turned into a pigeon. I wish I was making that up, but I'm not. So it's up to science.
Are you sure this is a December movie? I thought this was scheduled for May.
No,
according to
Wikipedia, it's scheduled for December 25th, according to this.
Christmas Day. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry, you weren't done.
No, that was it.
Clemency, which is Alfre Woodard as a guard, I believe, in an experienced death row prison. Did not get the best of reviews, but her performance got raves at Telluride this year. Also, Greta Gerwig is back as a director with her version of Little Women opening on Christmas Day, with the title characters being played by Saoirse Ronan, Florence Pugh, Beanie Feldstein, and
Eliza Scanlon, Emma Watson.
I don't have that name on there. Plus, also joined by Meryl Streep, Laura Dern, and Timothée Chalamet again.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So that'll be interesting. A movie that's not on my list here, but I've seen the trailer for, and which is also getting incredible and unexpected word of mouth out of Venice last week, is Netflix films The Two Popes, a discussion film basically, with Pope Benedict, played by Anthony Hopkins, and the Cardinal who would become Pope Francis, played by Jonathan Pryce, as they discuss things in the Catholic Church prior to Benedict's unexpected
decision
abdication. It is said to be wryly humorous in places no one expected, exquisitely dramatic, and could earn both of them Oscar nominations. It is going to have a limited theatrical release in addition to its Netflix premiere on December 20th. So I love this, Hopkins and Jonathan Pryce. I love both of them. And the idea of the two of them talking about modern stuff like music and stuff as the Pope and what would be his immediate successor, it just floors me. I can't wait to see this. It got great reviews. Also out in December, 1917, a new war pick that's aiming at being another version of another success like Dunkirk, with George McKay, Dean Charles Chapman, Colin Firth, Mark Strong, and Benedict Cumberbatch, lensed by legendary cinematographer Roger Deakins. Just Mercy, which was being called a surefire Oscar winner until its premiere in Toronto last night, when everybody fell flat on it, and only Jamie Foxx is now really in the running for. Everybody said it was not what they expected it to be. They were expecting it to be this year's Green Book, and it turned out to be a flat, not so great movie, but great performances from Michael B. Jordan and Brie Larson, along with Jamie Foxx. Black Christmas, we've mentioned. Superintelligence, and anything else on your list?
Melissa McCarthy desperately needs a film that's going to be a hit not only with the critics but with audiences as well.
Yeah, she had the golden touch for a while, and her last 4 movies have bombed, so this is something.
I don't know if Superintelligence is going to do it or not. Superintelligence is the story of Carol Peters, a woman that lives a pretty mundane, ordinary life, but when she starts getting sass from her television, her microwave, or basically anything electronic in the house, she's wondering if somebody's playing a practical joke or if she's going crazy. As it turns out, the world's first supercomputer has decided to take over her appliances and things and is using her for observation. And if she fails, this superintelligence may pull the plug on all of us.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
The film, as I mentioned, stars Melissa McCarthy with James Corden as the voice of the superintelligence.
Some of the movies that don't have dates yet that are scheduled right now for likely premieres this fall, in addition to The Irishman, which we talked about a few segments ago, The Laundromat, which is also a Netflix movie, I believe, with Meryl Streep as in the true story of the Panama Papers. Also starring Gary Oldman, Antonio Banderas, Sharon Stone, and Alex Pettyfer. Directed and written by Steven Soderbergh. It is expected to be really cool, and it will have its North American premiere at Toronto this week. Marriage Story, which premiered in Telluride last week, is getting rave reviews as an even more gut-wrenching divorce drama similar to Kramer versus Kramer, with directed and written by Noah Baumbach, starring Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson. This is also a Netflix film, which is getting a theatrical release, and it sounds absolutely gut-wrenching. There's 2 different trailers, one from each spouse's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
The King, as Kim mentioned, with Timothée Chalamet. The Wasp Network, which is from director Oliver Assayas, who had a huge hit a couple years ago with Personal Shopper and a few other things. This played at Telluride, did not get good word of mouth at all. They're all calling it his first misfire. Includes in the cast Penelope Cruz, Edgar Ramirez, Gail Garcia Bernal, and Wagner Moura. There's Dolomite Is My Name, which premiered in Toronto this afternoon and got rave reviews, with Eddie Murphy starring in the life story of Rudy Ray Moore, the actor and director who made the blaxploitation film Dolomite Is My Name. It might boost, they're all saying it could boost Eddie back to A-lister. First Cow, and I'm not kidding, this is auteur Kelly Reichardt's new film. The critics have never found a Kelly Reichardt movie they didn't like. I have never found a Kelly Reichardt movie that didn't bore me to tears. I'm sorry, Kelly. I just don't get it. Starring John Magaro and Renee Murat Auberjonois, who I believe is Renee Auberjonois' son. I believe. I've not been able to find that out for sure. Is a sensitive portrayal of Native American cultures, subcultures, and somehow they end up in China at the end of this film. I'm like, okay. The Truth, which is Japanese, we're not worthy. Hirokazu Koreeda's first English language film, shot outside of Japan. It stars Catherine Deneuve, Juliette Binoche, Ethan Hawke, and of course, Koreeda gave us one of our favorite films of all time, I Wish, along with last year's Palme d'Or winner at Cannes, Shoplifters. And he is an amazing director and writer, and this should be interesting to see what happens with this. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the titles we've missed here that are playing at the various film festivals and whether or not they're going to figure into the fall release schedule, and that's coming up
when Subject Cinema returns.
T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema.
PNR Network shows depend on our listeners. It's you that makes us who we are. Help us bring you all the best we can. Become a Patreon patron. Donations start at just $2 a month, and the more patrons we can get, the more we'll be able to offer. You can get great perks, plus exclusive blogs and podcasts available only for being a patron as well. It's absolutely fantastic. So please, become a Patreon patron today. We need you. Patreon.com/PNRNetworks.
All movies, all the time. Subject Cinema with TC and Kim.
You're listening to Subject Cinema's Fall Preview Edition. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
Fall Preview 2019. We thank you for listening, and we hope that you'll continue to support us by listening, liking, sharing, and subscribing on our regular sites, on Facebook, on YouTube, and everywhere else. And we hope you'll continue to support us by becoming a patron. Our Patreon account is at patreon.com/PNRNetworks, and you support all of our shows by that one donation. So please take the time to become a patron. The more you do, the more we can help and the more we can do for you. And we have some other shows premiering on Patreon exclusives in the next couple of months. We're up to the movies that aren't out yet, that aren't on the schedule yet, that are showing in the film festival circuit. We've talked about a number of them, and they are, huge in Toronto and such. But there are a few titles at each of the festivals that don't yet have distribution, or they don't yet figure into the fall schedule. 2 years ago, one of the big movies at Toronto was I, Tonya. It hadn't had a distributor, ended up coming out in December, and earned Margot Robbie an Academy Award nomination. So it was...
And Allison Janney won.
So it was an interesting... I don't think... Did she win the Oscar? I think she won the Golden Globe.
I'm not sure now.
I'm not sure, but she was definitely nominated.
Yep.
This year is another one of those years where you have certain things figuring into the theatricals that aren't yet there. The Friend is one of those films. It's opening in Toronto. After learning that his best friend's terminally ill wife has 6 months to live, a man moves into the family's home to support them. Casey Affleck, Dakota Johnson, Jason Segel, and Gwendolyn Christie are the stars of this, premiering in Toronto, as I said. Another film that premiered in Toronto to mixed reviews, but that is likely to do better than we think. Biopics for musicals have been huge the last couple of years. As we said last week, we've had Bohemian Rhapsody and then Rocket Man. Now I Am Woman is on the horizon. This movie, which looks at Helen Reddy's life, is getting marginal reviews for the film, but rave reviews for Tilda Cobham Hervey's portrayal of the singer. It has not yet landed a distributor, but is likely to because of its subject matter. People are expecting it to do well. Blackbird, with Susan Sarandon as a terminally ill matriarch, reuniting 3 generations of her family to tell them that she's soon going to be ending her life, but also bringing a buried family secret to the surface, which also stars Kate Winslet, Mia Wasikowska, Sam Neill, Rainn Wilson, and Lindsay Duncan. No word on that yet as far as definite stuff. A lot of the good stuff is already on the list. I think that you can look at the schedules, and we'll be covering Toronto and Telluride and stuff on the website over at eCinemaOne over the next few weeks. The one that seems to be getting, there's a couple that are getting really good word of mouth from Toronto, and they were right out at the beginning. There is the 2-part film Waves, which is being called this year's Moonlight. It is done in 2 halves, and it follows a dysfunctional family from Florida who end up at the end of the first film suffering an enormous personal tragedy, and the second half is about that personal tragedy.
Right, and how they cope with it.
It hits November 1st, and it will stars Kelvin Harrison Jr., Alexa Demie, Sterling K. Brown, Lucas Hedges, Taylor Russell, Clifton Collins Jr., Neil Huff, and Krista Fairchild. It should be interesting. The other one is the comic take on classic Dickens, The Personal History of David Copperfield, directed by Armando Iannucci, who did last year's critically acclaimed comedy, The Death of Stalin. This time he brings Dickens to life with Dev Patel in the lead character role. What odd casting you have for David Copperfield.
Okay, why not?
Along with Tilda Swinton, Hugh Laurie, Peter Capaldi, Ben Whishaw, Anna Barnard, Benedict Wong, and Gwendolyn Christie again. Early buzz has been terrific, and looks like it's going to be a big hit when it comes out.
Yep.
I think that when all is said and done, there's going to be a couple of big floaters and a couple of big bombers. The Sound of Metal, the last movie I'm going to bring up, freaked people out so bad somebody had an attack during the actual premiere at Toronto the other night.
Wow.
It uses a lot of flashing, a lot of sound effects to depict a heavy metal drummer losing his hearing, played by Riz Ahmed. It freaked people out, and but it,
were they had like an attack from the strobes or something?
No, it was from the sound. They said the guy fainted. He was in the balcony.
Gosh.
They paused the film to get him out. It was right at the critical moment of the film. So it was interesting. I think of all the films this fall, that's hard. Is there one that you really would mark as of the smaller films that you would mark as not miss?
The Lighthouse.
Lighthouse and The Two Popes for me. I really think both of those are going to be interesting. Of course, we're definitely interested in the big films.
Yes, definitely.
Knives Out, Joker, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, Zombieland, sequel, and so on. We hope you'll enjoy them as well. And of course, we will continue to report on them all through Oscar season. And when the official award season starts with the release of the Gotham Awards nominees in early November, right on through the year-end stuff and all the big awards. And don't forget Oscars. Oscars are earlier this year than usual. Instead of being at the end of February, they are at the beginning of February. I forget why. I thought it was Olympic coverage, but that's Summer Olympics next year. There's something going on that they moved it 2 weeks ahead, so the deadlines for the voters are going to be screwed up.
Super Bowl?
No, it'll be after that. But it's been moved ahead. There's something else going on, and maybe it was Super Tuesday in California or something.
Oh, I don't know.
There's something that's going to affect the voters because the Oscar nominations will be coming out earlier than usual, and they'll have less time to see them. So it's going to be interesting to see this year's Oscar season. Could be in a complete disarray with this new schedule, but we'll see. Don't forget, you can listen to us on all week long on all of our other shows. Kim has a great wrestling show called Ring Around the Rosie every Wednesday night. And also her Patreon-only show, Kaiju Corner, will be making a return in the near future, all about kaiju movies. My disaster movie show, Catastrophe Vortex, will be back probably Monday, maybe next Monday, with our season premiere of The Tower of Inferno. I'm reformatting it and have all kinds of great stuff for it. And you can find that at CatastropheVortex.com. You can also hear our spin-off of Subject Cinema, Front Row 5 and 10, every Thursday. We're not telling you the list now. You got to come listen to hear it. And we do countdowns of crazy lists there, plus 3 Minute Weekend and Tuesday Digidex every Friday and Tuesday with the latest releases in the theater and on home video. Those are about 5 to 7 minutes each.
If you are of a more dramatic bent and would like to hear us in our thespian roles, you can check us out.
You can't say that on the air.
Thespian?
Thespian. That's a dirty word.
This is what I have to work with. People.
Acting! Okay.
Acting.
Anyway.
We have a couple of dramatic works that we've put up online. You can check them out. Manhattan Hammerdown As It Happened, which was our look at what else was going on in New York City the night that Clover came to town. So, which we released in conjunction with the 10-year anniversary of the film Cloverfield.
Last year. And also our take on War of the Worlds in honor of its 80th anniversary with the Orson Welles version. That came last year. And we have a new one coming up around Halloween. And I hope you will enjoy that. Don't forget also our other friends.
Yes, you can check out our other friends, Eric and Valerie. They have a show called Cavebabble, and they're super awesome people. They do all kinds of crazy fun things. And you can check out our buddy Anthony Lamberti on his...
Anthony!
If you're not from Massachusetts, you're not going to get it.
Honey, that was a national commercial.
Yeah. Okay. All right. His show, Ampy's Comic Grotto, which is on YouTube, and he's really awesome.
And he's coming back to podcasting, too. He thinks he just finds it easier.
If you'd like to follow us on Twitter, you can follow me at PlatinumRoseLady at Twitter.com.
I'm at eCinemaOne, eCinemaBoston, and TKR Online for my music site, the Kirkham Report, which I'm going to have more stuff up on the next week or so.
And if you'd like to just write to us about any old thing, you can reach me at PlatinumRoseLady.
Well, I don't want to hear about how the weather is in your neighborhood, unless you got some, cool hurricane stories.
Well, I'd like to hear from you if you just want to have somebody to talk to about movies or whatever.
Well, that's fine, but I mean, don't just say, "Well, how's the weather up there?" Or, no,
Well, you can write to us and tell us how awesome you think Tom Brady is. You can write to me at PlatinumRoseL@yahoo.com.
Or you can write to us overall at subjectcinema at PNRNetworks.com. You are a pain in the butt. You know that. Next week, we will be back with more great stuff, and we hope you will join us. Until then... For Subject Cinema, I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
May your popcorn always be buttered.
And may your roses always be in bloom.
TTFN.
Bye now.
You have been listening to Subject Cinema with hosts T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema is produced by PNRNetworks, Boston, Massachusetts, which is solely responsible for its content. Subject Cinema theme performed by Eric Lyon. Subject Cinema is recorded and produced using Sony Vegas products. Subject Cinema is copyright 2018 by PNR Networks under a Creative Commons license. Check out a new episode of Subject Cinema every weekend. Until next time, this is Bob Taylor for Subject Cinema, and we'll see you at the movies.
That's all.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.